Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend. Chris Hamill is here with me. We start with a talking point, which is David De Gea, of course.
Big
what
Dave saves yet again,
God.
and he saved United away from home. Tottenham Hotspur will feel very hard done by. They didn't claim at least a point in this game, but a positive performance from Manchester United.
Yeah.
Much braver away from home than we came to expect under Jose Mourinho, and it paid dividends, particularly in the first half, but you did have to ride your luck and rely on the genius of David De Gea in the second half, making 11 saves in total. The only time he's made more saves in a Premier League game was against Arsenal in 2017 when he totaled 14.
And that was probably the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen.
Yeah, there were no world-class saves in this game. It was right place, right time, extremely good with his feet. Very underrated, the approach he takes, actually, with his feet, because number one, it would suggest his positioning is pretty unrivaled. And I think for that Harry Kane shot, where he comes across David De Gea's body, if a keeper goes at that with his hand, it might creep underneath, but he sticks out a foot. A little bit unorthodox, but very effective,
It's the same with the Toby Alderweireld chance at the front post. If he goes down to try and hook it out with his hand, I think it goes under, but because he goes with his foot, he saves it. It's a genius bit of
It takes like a millisecond longer to get down there, doesn't it? And we're no goalkeeping coaches, but that's how it appears from the outside looking in. Anyway, United have now kept back-to-back clean sheets for the first time this season.
Jesus.
They only had kept 2 clean sheets in their first 20 league matches. Rashford amongst the goals yet again. That's 8 goal involvements now in, I think, maybe his last 5-6 games, and 3 in his last 3. Really getting the best out of him, isn't he, Solskjaer?
Yeah.
And it's clear to see why he started Rashford in this game over the likes of Lukaku. Offers much more mobility, tenacity. He was very influential in the channels, chasing down those long balls by Paul Pogba, and the assist for the goal, Paul Pogba.
Get it out from under your feet, I was thinking. Get it out from under your feet. Oh, and then he just...
But he does it with his side foot, and when you do that, it generally curls away from the player, but he hits it so flat, it just falls perfectly into Rashford's path.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, Rashford was sharp yesterday. He was looking on point. Some of his touches, I don't think Romelu Lukaku takes that in his stride, but Rashford did, lo and behold.
Before the game, they were saying that Rashford had basically been told by the senior members of Manchester United staff that he was going to be the starting 9 now. He's the number 1 striker at the club, and Lukaku is playing second fiddle to him, which is obviously catering towards Solskjaer's system of much faster playing style, much faster attacks, counter-attacks that we saw last night against Tottenham Hotspur. And it's just good to see. He's playing with so much confidence. When Lukaku came on, there was a significantly noticeable difference. Lukaku couldn't hold the ball up, bouncing all over the place off him, nowhere near as good in the press, just nowhere near as mobile. I think that's the key word, and not as good off the ball.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford still concerns me a little bit when he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and it's quite straight on, quite a flat angle. He's a much better finisher coming in from
on the
either
angles,
side.
That's where Lukaku's better than he is finishing.
Yeah, demonstrated in this game with Lukaku. Lukaku, I think, 200 appearances in the Premier League after he came on from the bench, 98 goals. So despite going through an extremely dry patch, despite being low on confidence, let's not forget the pedigree of Romelu Lukaku. Great to have him chomping at the bit to play in these games. Paul Pogba, after that assist, has now been involved in 15% of United's Premier League goals since Solskjaer took over. That's 4 goals and 4 assists. I believe he is now on for 8 goal involvements in 5 games.
Yeah, he's playing some of the best football of his United career at the moment under Solskjaer. And it's clear that Solskjaer has come in and changed the mentality of a lot of players. But what I will say, some of the reports and headlines in the British media this morning of Solskjaer now has to get the United job. Solskjaer should now be favourite to get the United job on a permanent. Can we all just relax, please? I mean, let's face it, United scraped by in that second half.
Yeah, massively. And Paul Pogba, I think you're not able to facilitate that game plan without him. What I really liked about United yesterday was that you were still direct. There wasn't a lot of intricate football on display.
That we have seen against one of the smaller teams.
But it was a more it was a more simple but effective system of, instead of pumping it to Fellaini in central areas, instead of bombarding the box, your players would pull out wide, stretch the fullbacks and use their pace to sort of pick up slightly more speculative long balls in the flanks. And Paul Pogba's distribution allowed you to do that. He was at the tip of the diamond, wasn't he, in the formation, but he was almost kind of bit of a quarterback yesterday.
I kind of felt like we almost exactly replicated Liverpool's style when they went to Wembley and got a result. You know, with the two high forwards they had Salah and Mane, and we used Martial and Rashford, pulling the centre-backs wide, using the spacing behind the full-backs. It's obviously left because Davis and Trippier play so high up. Lingard playing as a sort of false nine. He to me was the man who was leading our off-the-ball press. And it worked perfectly in the first half. Second half, Pochettino adapted his game, moved some players around. Obviously, Sissoko came off with a hamstring. United failed to adapt to his changes.
I think that's where the gulf in class between the two managers became evident in the second half, because whilst I respected Solskjaer for sticking to his game plan, bringing Lukaku on, you know, he said he's going to attack from the offset, which is probably United's best tact at the moment because you've just got such talent in forwards. Yeah. Pochettino makes a few little in-game changes, and all of a sudden you should have lost 3-1. Yeah,
that for me is the difference as well. People that are saying, whoa, you've got to give it to Solskjaer on a permanent now, he's won 6 games. Let's just calm down, you know. 4 of them were very, very winnable. 1 was an FA Cup tie, and then scraped past Tottenham Hotspur. If Pochettino is available in the summer, we still should be going for Pochettino. Yeah. I know that Solskjaer's brought the feel-good factor back. Mickey Phelan's obviously doing really good work behind the scenes. We've got Pogba firing, Rashford firing. But we just need to calm down a bit with the chat that he should get the permanent job based on the back of 6 positive results.
Poch had to deal with the first Manchester United manager to achieve that result, by the way, which is pretty incredible, winning your first 6 games. But Poch had to, his hand was forced in this game when he had to bring Sissoko off, and I actually thought Sissoko was great in the transition, was great sort of defensively in the first 25 minutes. He really kind of took Tottenham up the pitch on a couple of occasions, and it just felt like not a lot went right for Pochettino.
Yeah, he was a little bit unlucky, wasn't he? I think Harry Kane had 7 shots in this one. They had 61% possession, 21 shots as a team.
A lot of high-quality chances as well in the
really
box.
high-quality chances. Although I think expected goals, it was only about 1.6 to 0.9. So it wasn't massively out. 2-1 Tottenham expected goals had it pretty much. I would think, for me anyway, maybe I'm being a bit biased, but a draw probably would have been a fair result based on United having the better in the first half and having some big chances in the second. That Pogba cutback got to go in.
Yeah, there's some givens this season. One is that, I mean, barring when they played Manchester City, Tottenham are going to create high quality chances in any given game, and to get points at Wembley, you're going to need to ride your luck slightly. But it was just refreshing to see Manchester United play positively, and like you said, Lloris wasn't out of action. He had to make
one brilliant save of the Pogba lob.
Yeah, 2 or 3 big saves in the opening exchanges of the second half. I thought you were very good coming out, but then that last sort of 20-25, a little bit ragged.
Yeah, I mean, United though now level on points with Arsenal in 6th. Arsenal have got to play Chelsea on the weekend as well, so every chance United can leapfrog them there. I think there's 6 points off of 4th place.
Who'd have thought
Chelsea.
That? You were 12 points behind Arsenal going into the winter
7
period.
points off 3rd now, Manchester United, which is Tottenham Hotspur, who are in turn 9 points now behind Liverpool. It looks to me like a title challenge is off the cards now for Tottenham Hotspur.
As a Manchester United fan,
was it ever even there?
Yeah, I think that's probably ambitious to say Tottenham were title contenders. Liverpool and Man City so much clearly better, not just in terms of squad depth, but in terms of how they're securing those results as well. But as a Manchester United fan, do you think you're now going to finish above Arsenal? Obviously, this has been hotly debated in the office.
It's going to be a very close one. I think that Arsenal are falling apart at the seams a little bit. And it all seems to be going wrong at a poor time for Emery. United are gathering momentum. How long they can keep the momentum going for remains to be seen. It's all going to be about keeping Paul Pogba fit, really. If Paul Pogba can stay fit for the back end of the season, then I think we'll finish above Arsenal. But Arsenal were just tailing away. Another big injury in this game, by the way, we should just mention, Harry Kane picked up it's being reported as an ankle ligament tear right at the end of the game. Obviously the same ankle that he did against Bournemouth as well. Just classic case of overworking him. Like that start of the season when he was being played over Heung-min Son and during the World Cup and being brought back early after the Bournemouth injury at the tail end of last season, just starting to come back to haunt him, isn't it?
Also worth touching upon Son there, who's out for 5 games now in the Asian Cup.
Well, no Kane, no Son. They're either going to have to pay Llorente through the middle, sign a striker, or Vincent Janssen is currently playing for the Tottenham under-23. So whether or not he finally gets a chance remains to be seen. But either way, a great result for Manchester United, a brilliant performance from David De Gea. But let's calm down on the rumours of Solskjaer getting the permanent job, please.
Still Poch. So we just touched upon them then, and Joel Brahim29 wants us to talk about Arsenal's demise to West Ham, starting with the Irons, who ran out deserved victors here.
Yeah, 100% right to be in our winners section, I think. 1-0 against Arsenal, moving up to 9th in the table. Also, I think that means that Manuel Pellegrini, get it out eventually, remains unbeaten against Unai Emery. They faced off 7 times. Unai Emery is yet to beat him. Big part of this game, Declan Rice baby, on his 2 days before his 20th birthday, 19 years old.
His 20th birthday today, actually.
Happy birthday, Declan. Happy birthday, mate. You know, not a bad birthday present, is it? Scoring the winner against Arsenal.
Bloody good goal as well.
It was a bloody good goal and a bloody good performance as well. 5 tackles and interceptions, dribbled past just once, won 2 of his 3 aerial duels. He actually had a great chance before his goal, a header that he probably should have done better with. Did you see it?
Yeah, didn't think he'd have a grain of confidence after that.
No, I know.
Grain, Rice, come on.
That is disgraceful.
Anyway.
Absolutely disgraceful. He's now the 10th teenager to score a Premier League goal for the Hammers, the first since Junior Stanislas, who's now rocking it at Bournemouth. That was back in 2009. Also, a quick shout out to Samir Nasri. Back in this one, wasn't he? Nice to see him return to the Premier League, sort of.
The old drip doctor
After
general.
the old drip doctor gate. He obviously facing off against his ex-club, created 3 chances. I thought he put in a really good shift. He is a decent signing for West Ham.
Very decent.
If he was fit, he would be one of their better players.
It's always been a question of his mentality as opposed to his ability. If you can get him, if he's hungry, then it'll be a great acquisition for
and if he's fit.
West Ham. And I think he's been training there since November, so I don't think he's probably too far off getting into a decent shape.
Yeah, and they're gonna need him, aren't they? Lanzini is still out with that. Is it an ACL injury? And now they've lost Marko Arnautovic, or seemingly lost Marko Arnautovic, being pictured at Gatwick on his way to China in what is apparently a £45 million move to high-buy fortune.
Yeah, I know a lot of West Ham fans are dismayed at that move because he's been your informed player over a turbulent sort of 18 months, but I think he's extremely replaceable.
Yeah.
I like him, but
what is he, 30?
If Batshuayi, I know he's going on loan to Monaco, if Chelsea were prepared to let him go for 18 mil, it shows there's still really good value in the market for forwards who are maybe suffering slightly for confidence or for form. I think they can make a bit of money on him and go out and get someone who's going to have a similar impact.
I couldn't agree more. Obviously has been informed, but 30 years old, £50 million bid comes in. You cannot say no to that for Marko Arnautovic. The question will be how they reinvest that. You've just got to hope, West Ham fans, that Jack Sullivan doesn't take his finger out the ladies' team, put it into the males' team and go, I want to spend £30 million on Daniel Sturridge or something like that. Like, that would be the worst if that could happen.
Looking at the top line stats, it would suggest that Arsenal maybe deserved a point in this game. But if you dig a little bit deeper, I think you uncover that Unai Emery's squad selection was fairly poor and that Arsenal weren't very decisive, not taking their plethora of opportunities on the day. They in fact matched West Ham for shots with 11, had 60% possession, but of the Gunners' 6 attempts from inside the box, they only put 1 on target. Aubameyang guilty of missing a couple of half-decent chances. And just going back to that starting 11, they lined up in a 3-5-2, of which they have been a lot better in of late. Sai Kolasinac creating the most chances in the Premier League from left wing-back, so it is a great start to the season. But that Xhaka-Guendouzi pairing, problematic again, with Xhaka at fault for Rice's goal. It was sort of a half-arsed headed clearance, wasn't it, from a failed corner in.
But why is he dropping or resting Torreira for this game? There is no excuse
away from home, London
to rest
derby.
Torreira in this game.
Yeah, West Ham in the ascendancy, put in some good displays of late. And the numbers kind of bear this out, that Xhaka and Guendouzi weren't the most compatible pairing that he could have gone for. I mean, 3 tackles and interceptions between them. Torreira's been averaging 4.3 a game by himself this season. I suppose the only real silver lining for Arsenal in this game was Alex Iwobi, who had 62 touches, 2 key passes, completed 6 of his 7 dribbles on the 90. Gunners now 5th on goal difference, which is only better than United by +2. And since their derby win at the start of December, which was, we thought they'd maybe kick on from there, kind of shore up defensively. It's not really happened. The only Premier League teams they've beaten are Huddersfield, Burnley and Fulham, winning 3, drawing 2, losing 3 as well.
So bad. Emery's got it totally wrong here.
It feels like United are snapping at the heels, and you overtaking them is somewhat inevitable.
Like, I semi-understand leaving Mesut Ozil out of the squad.
I don't think there's any team in the world that can tactically justify leaving Mesut Ozil out of a match day squad. I'm sorry, that's stupid.
I could not agree with it more.
And a week as well.
And if you just dig a little bit deeper into some of the players that are earning big chunks of money at that club, like Mkhitaryan on 180 grand a week in there. It's just not good enough, really, behind the scenes right now. They've got no money to spend in January. Don't know how that's happened, by the way. Stan Kroenke needs to put his hand in his pocket and spend some money on the first team.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, Arsenal are generating matchday revenue, and it's all going into his pocket, and he's not investing anything back into the club.
What I will say is that I think people jumping on the Saka and Unai Emery bandwagon are maybe getting ahead of themselves. We saw the benefits of giving someone like Jurgen Klopp 2 or 3 transfer windows and having a clear transfer vision. Unai Emery's not had that at the club. It's been quick fix after quick fix, isn't it? Signing a 30-year-old centre-back as your marquee signing for the summer. Arsenal's general dealings behind the scenes not really good enough, and I just think Unai Emery deserves a little bit more time. Although, I mean, looking at that starting lineup against West Ham, I was actually like behind Lacazette and Aubameyang. The teams match up pretty like for like in terms of ability, which is alarming.
Like Diop, West Ham's Diop, he's so good. West Ham's Diop, he would walk into that Arsenal team.
Sorry state of affairs for Arsenal, isn't it, really? And now that you've consigned to only making loans in the January transfer window, it would seem you may be doomed to finish 6th again. The only, I suppose, silver lining there being that no one behind Arsenal. There's a significant drop in class after that. Everton have lost momentum. Wolves have lost a bit of momentum. Play Manchester City tonight, of course. So yeah, 6th, maybe 5th or 6th. Bit of an underwhelming season, because I know it's been a transitional period, but there's not really pushed on in the right direction.
Definitely needs investment, but congratulations to West Ham, innit? They're our first winners.
Irons.
Our first loser of the day, Bournemouth. This was sent in by FM Matty 19 Hamill.
Yeah, they fell foul to the Toffees 2-0 at Goodison Park on Sunday afternoon, didn't they? A bit of a cagey, attritional first half, but Zouma headed his first Toffees goal before Dominic Calvert-Lewin wrapped it up in injury time. Now, no Callum Wilson for the Cherries, a huge loss for them, given how influential he's been in the final third for them, not just with goals but assists as well. Missed out due to a hamstring injury, but of course there is speculation linking him with Chelsea. So, you know, if Chelsea are prepared to pay upwards of 50 mil for him, then you wrap him in cotton wool and you DHL the boy. Anyway, so the Cherries continue their slide down the table and are now 12th after losing 9 of their last 12 Premier League matches. This is despite actually edging Everton in expected goals 2-1.5 in this 90 and having 16 shots away from home to Everton's 15. So, yeah, it can feel a little bit hard done by. It's kind of hard, tactically speaking, to put your finger on what is going wrong at Bournemouth at the moment. Eddie Howe saying post-match that it's just down to little details in the game. It's kind of hard to disagree with him at the moment, because still playing a very positive brand of football. You know, Brooks and Fraser still look very dangerous, even in the absence of Callum Wilson. Nathaniel Klein got that eventually, made his debut in this game. So one small positive for them, making a very solid contribution, 4 tackles and an interception. And that's a good little savvy acquisition. And hopefully, you know, if they pick up another couple of good young players, and I think Bournemouth are a very appealing prospect to young players, then they can get themselves out of this and finish mid-table.
Yeah, this was a pretty close game. I have to say, me and Jalab watched this in the pub, and it could have gone either way before that Dominic Calvert-Lewin misery compiler really for Bournemouth. But Everton, a bit like Bournemouth, have been struggling of late. Only their second victory since the start of December, leapfrogging Wolves here to go into 10th. Now, man of the match went to Michael Keane. He was exceptional on the day. 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, 11 clearances, and a monstrous 13 aerial duels won.
He put in a huge last-ditch tackle, didn't he, when Bournemouth broke free? It was
I think it was on Brooks. It might have been on Brooks, somebody like that. Yeah.
Tackle coming down from Bournemouth's right.
Yeah, and then Pickford saved it on the second attempt as well. Also, Adeloman Lookman making his second start of the season, just his second start under Marco Silva. Came in for Theo Walcott. Looked to me like the best Everton player going forward as well. And there are arguments to be made, in my opinion, that Lookman should be starting over Walcott, really, because I think it's testament that if RB Leipzig want the player, you should probably be trying to find game time for him. Whereas Walcott has looked a little ineffectual at times under Silva.
Walcott's actually clocked up the most minutes this season at Everton, or at least before this game, so there's a certain degree of trust there between him and Silva, but his actual goal contributions kind of flailed a little bit, hasn't it? So.
Yeah, and I mean, if you match them up, him in this one and Walcott versus Leicester, pass completion 71% to 62%. Lookman completed 4 dribbles at 100% success rate comparatively to Walcott at 50% success rate. You know, for me, Walcott should start to be phased out now of that Everton side. If you're really looking to progress, if you're Marco Silva, players like Theo Walcott should start to be phased out, and players like Lookman should be start to phased in.
I don't think Walcott's ever been a great creator though, and Lookman is that. Lookman's got much more about him. If you're playing, if you want a sort of winger to come in from a wide position and play on the last man and kind of make those runs beyond, I suppose, another advanced striker, then Walcott will be much better suited. But he's not, is he? He's picking the ball up out wide.
He is.
He's trying to. He's driving into the box, crossing it, and Lookman can just come inside. He can go outside.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit harsh as well. I know some of the Everton fans have been calling for Marco Silva's head in recent weeks. Obviously,
maybe because of the terrible suits he wears.
He's the favourite for the Benfica job at the moment as well. And I if I was an Everton fan, I would not want to lose Marco Silva right now. He hasn't really had the time to imprint himself on this squad properly. I know he brought the 3 targets in from Barcelona. Andre Gomez, by the way, extremely lucky not to get sent off in this game. Yeah, he really should have been sent
Lucas
off.
Digne getting another assist. He's
Lucas Digne, who's been arguably signing of the season. So, you know, give Marco Silva a little bit of time. But for Bournemouth, continues a little bit of a slump. They need to turn it around.
Our final winners come from Captain Gunnar, and he's put Southampton in there. Why is that, Joseph?
Well, they are out of the relegation zone, continuing to improve under Ralph Hasenhüttl, obviously taking the scalp of Leicester this time. Now, stats-wise, pretty ugly reading for Southampton. Obviously, they did have a man sent off around half-time, so you can kind of account for that a little bit. But 21% possession, they took 8 shots to Leicester's 23. But Leicester, not efficient with those 23 shots, just 6 on target. Harry Maguire had 4 shots in this game, double that of Jamie Vardy, who, by the way, definitely should have been booked for a horrendous dive. Lucky he didn't dislocate his shoulder. He is a notorious diver as well, Vardy, and it doesn't get said enough. He's bad at
Kane. He's great at winning fouls, and you don't know whether to respect them for it or malign them for it.
Slightly rogue. Ralph Hasenhüttl, though, now has won as many away games in the Premier League already as Mark Hughes did his entire Southampton.
Wreck it, Ralph. Come on, lad.
That is outrageous. Mark Hughes, 12 played, 2-1, lost 7 away games in the Premier League. Hasenhüttl obviously already winning 2 away. Jan Bednarak, how do you pronounce it? Bednarak?
Yeah, I think
it's Bednarak.
I think it was a soft D. I think you nailed it first time.
Yeah, he is pretty much standout for the Saints at the moment. 7 aerial duels won in this one, 2 tackles at 100% success rate, 12 clearances, a behemoth of a performance after that sending off early doors. Just a great result for Southampton this.
Yeah, and they secured all the points without captain Højbjerg, of course, as well, who was sent off for a nasty tackle in the last game, seeing out a ban as the ex-Bayern Munich man. Let's have a little look at some of the modifications Hasenhüttl has made since coming in at the helm of Southampton, because They'd only won 1 Premier League game in 14 attempts prior to his arrival, drawing 6 and losing 7. And since he's come in, they've won 3 and 7, beating Arsenal and getting a very credible away point at Stamford Bridge. So, first of all, pretty obvious in terms of formation changes. He's moved to a 3-4-2-1, started to play a more counter-attacking style of football, and that's not necessarily just owing to the personnel he has at his disposal, because there's not a lot of forward prowess in that side. That's kind of how he played at RB Leipzig. It wasn't about dominating the ball, it was about winning the ball back in sort of good possessions. They used to play a lot of long diagonal balls and try and win second balls in the corners, and that's kind of carried across here. So they've only had 35% possession in 2 of their 7 games, but a lot more decisive as well. We said that he consistently generates an overperforming attack, and their shot location has increased massively. So on average, prior to his arrival, 36% of Southampton shots came from inside the box. That number's increased to 66%.
That's crazy. That's so good. And this is 66%. Although Danny Ings has been good, injured this week as well, wasn't he? Not the first name on the team sheet, Danny Ings, because of his injury record. If they had an out-and-out proper goal scorer, you'd be like, that would be even higher.
Well, they've let Gabbiadini go, haven't they? They've got Charlie Austin still, who seems like a bit part player at the very least. Danny Ings was pretty much carrying Southampton prior to his injury, so you'd imagine that when he comes back and he's adapted to Hassanet's system, that these numbers might even creep up that little bit more.
Yeah, because I think Shane Long's currently in there trying to do it, and the guy has scored 4 goals under 4 different managers.
That's an incredible stat. Goal and an assist in this 90, though. Of course, that was his first goal in 22 Premier League appearances. I think I'm right in saying so.
Jesus.
The Irishman finally getting the rub of the green, because it kind of looped over Kasper Schmeichel as well, didn't it? Or did it loop over, or did Kasper Schmeichel get a touch? It was an unorthodox finish nonetheless. He's also, one of the biggest changes I've noticed is how he's using Nathan Redmond and Stuart Armstrong, the latter looking like a crucial component of this Southampton side. Very proactive in the opening exchanges of this game. Probably should have done better with the 2 chances that he had in the first 20 minutes, but he's now taking a shot, the Scotsman, every 40 minutes compared to every 70 before under Mark Hughes. The pair also lead the press and have increased the amount of tackles and interceptions by 0.5 and 0.4 respectively. So around 50% for both personnel there. So really kind of just using the mobility in that side, using the pace a little bit more, and seeing far less of the ball but being more effective with it. And long may it continue, because I think Southampton were an exciting team to watch 4 or 5 years ago. More excited than you are by this segment, quite clearly. That's
that was the second one, I'll be honest.
Very
but
rude.
Southampton and Leicester just doesn't get me going. Our final losers are Fulham. This was suggested by JJB UK 2307. Terrible handle and an even worse result for Fulham, Hamill.
Yeah, I mean, even the highlights for this game were only 3 minutes long.
Shocking game.
So not a lot happened, did it? But Burnley remain unbeaten against Fulham at home since 1951, if you were wondering, in all competitions. But it wasn't without a little help from the visitors, was it? Very generous on the defensive end. The Clarets had a grand total of 0, the square root of goal, as Fulham became the first team to score 2 own goals in a single Premier League game in the last 2 years.
Embarrassing.
Not what you want when you're in a relegation dogfight, is it? The Cottagers did start off brightly though, and what a finish from Schürrle, rolling back the years, delicate touch.
It doesn't even
comes
look
across the keeper, nestles in a top bins.
It didn't even look like he didn't try and hit the lever off it. It was like a placement into that top bins, and if the fact it comes off the crossbar makes it look like he's it, but I don't think he does.
Yeah.
It's sort of a delicate finish.
Beautiful, beautiful from Schürrle. Yeah, and he's the scourge of Burnley normally, isn't he? Scored in every Premier League game against them for Fulham. But around the 20-minute mark, shit hit the fan. Joe Bryan and Dennis Odoi both scoring in their own net. Jeff Hendrick, very influential, enforcing the issue with them, I guess.
Thunder across the box.
I actually thought his first cross was on target. as a shot.
Oh,
So,
I don't know. What, the Joe Bryant one where it pings off his knee?
Yeah.
Harsh.
Jeff Hendrick looks like he should be a grunge rocker or something. But lo and behold, he's a Premier League footballer. It set the tone for the rest of the game. After the break, the home side attempted just 3 shots on goal as they continue to be one of the most boring, tactically, dull teams in the Premier League.
God, imagine being a Burnley fan. It is so boring. It must be more boring than Man United under Mourinho because there's just no ambition, is there? Even when you went 2-1 up, you just shut up shop. 41% possession, that's 2% less than your average. And I believe your centre-backs, Tarkowski and me, including Jack Hawke in this as well, made 16 clearances. 16 clearances in this game.
Between 3 players.
Quite frankly, if it wasn't for Tarkowski's, to be fair, brilliant block on the line where he positions himself like a magician in there, you would have drawn this game. And the fact that you've won 3 on the bounce is kind because you've not been great in any of them. Sean Dyche continues to defy expected goals models. He is up to 15th now with this Burnley side, so he is out of the relegation zone, whereas Fulham are in real danger. And the Tinkerman, he could well get sacked. I don't know.
Again, another sacking for Fulham.
I don't know how long Ranieri's going to last. He's won 1 of 10.
Did you see the Fulham owner tweet the fans?
I will never leave this club.
I'll die at this club.
I know, which is pretty jokes. But he's won 1 in 10, Claudio. And it wouldn't surprise me if they try and make another change. Sam Allardyce is available. And if Fulham need to stay up, they may end up going for it.
So you actually think as a result of this fixture, they might go full Sean Dyche and go for someone in the model of defensively sound.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Pumping long balls
But
into
would
the
it
box.
surprise anyone if they bought in Gary Cahill and Sam Allardyce before the end of January? No, it
Have they
wouldn't.
got the personnel for Sam Allardyce? Because they're geared to an attacking manager, aren't they? That's the thing about Fulham. There's very little in the way of defensive standout performers.
That's why I'm saying they're going to bring in Gary Cahill and they'll bring in Sam Allardyce and they'll scrape relegation by 2 points.
I think they're going down.
Yeah, I think they're going down as well. Them and Huddersfield pretty much locked in.
Yeah, and or maybe Newcastle as well. I'm not liking the look of Rafa's men at the moment. But that's all we have time for. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, Stat Wars, the league final went live this Saturday. So if you're in the mood for some more content, go and watch that. Any final words, John?
Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.